Brent is meeting Gunner for the first time today. We're removing the halter and we won't be using a lead rope. The reason for this is because we're going to be starting to put a language in place between Gunner and Brent. Without the lead rope, we'll get the most clear picture of Gunner's understanding, his level of connection and respect. Brent's demonstrating the horseman's handshake. This is a greeting. Then Gunner asks me what I want, and I say, "Don't come to me." So he goes over to Brent and gets a greeting. Brent rewards him with a flat hand and a treat. This is a sign saying that I don't have more treats to give you right now. Gunner actually takes a step forward when he gets this rather than being respectful and backing off. So what we'll be doing next is doing some exercises to get Gunner to be a little bit more respectful of the space around Brent. And so to get this, we're going to be moving the horse's feet around instead of letting Gunner come into our space. When Gunner came in to greet Brent for the first time, Gunner actually placed him directly in front of him, which is normal. To be safe, though, we want to stand off to the side of the horse or at the horse's shoulder if we're not directly in front of them. And in this way, if the horse suddenly goes forward, then we're not in the horse's way. We don't get stepped on. We've told Gunner to stand still by tapping him under the tummy, by inhibiting movement of the horse's feet, or directing it or causing it. We gain respect from the horse. As Brent begins this friendly game exercise, Gunner starts licking and chewing. This is a good sign. It tells us that he's calm and that he's in rest and digest mode rather than fight or flight. Gunner's calm enough to keep his feet in place. Gunner raises his head here for a bit, but he's not in a frozen, rigid state. His ears are still mobile and his neck and head are still moving around while his feet are still. This is a good sign. Brent's waiting for Gunner to hold his feet still and be gentle with his nose without moving forward in order to get his treats. In order to build more trust and more connection with this same exercise, we'll ask Gunner to stand still, and this time we'll walk around with more energy, a higher hand with the whip up higher. If Gunner stiffens up, that'll tell us that he needs a little reassurance, and we hope that the horse can rise to the occasion. As we raise the energy to level 2 and go a little faster with the whip a little higher, Gunner's doing fine. You can see more licking and chewing. His head's moving around. He's paying attention and watching Brent. As he comes around to the left side, Gunner watches as he comes around, and he hasn't moved his feet at all. So this is a successful move from level 1 to 2 in energy, and it builds even more trust and connection with the same exercise. Brent's asking Gunner to stand still once again. He's about to add even more energy here too. Raising the whip above her head and spinning it, it makes both a noise and motion up high, which is a lot more threatening to a horse. But Gunner's fine. He's trusting Brent and he knows that he's not needing to feel threatened. It's important to stay safe distance-wise when we're building trust with a horse. Horses can kick about 6 feet out behind them. They can also kick to the side, or they can strike with the front leg if they feel threatened. Gunner's been through this exercise hundreds of times, but he hasn't been through it with Brent. So we're keeping a distance with the use of the whip. We have contact, and it's an extension of our arm to keep us safe. To encourage a horse at liberty to stay connected with us and stay participating, we are using treats, but we're using them intermittently.
Okay. That's good right there, I think.
The next exercise is backing the horse up. We're using the nerves on the face to do this, and we're staying clear of the nasal passages so that we don't plug the horse's nose. In backing a horse up, this is a way to create submission in a horse and to show them that we can, in fact, move their feet rather than allowing them to move our feet. Horses are always aware of whose feet are moving. Verbal cues are also very helpful.
Nice. Very nice.
We soften and lower our energy and our body language to draw a horse toward us. It's the most non-threatening body language. This is an invitation for the horse to come into our space. Without this invitation, the horse shouldn't.
Go get it. Go get it. Good boy.
Gunner knows that Brent knows how to plant his feet because of the last game that we did. So Gunner's giving Brent a whole lot more distance and space. This is much more respectful. If we haven't caught the horse's eye when we give a cue, sometimes a verbal cue will get their attention.
Nice.
To apply the brakes, we stand up straight.
Good.
Gunner voluntarily steps back a bit, and Brent even asks for more respect and or space. Surprisingly, horses can't breathe through their mouth, so when we're on the facial nerves, we need to be careful not to block the nasal passages that go on the side of the bone. Horses should yield to pressure anywhere, so pressure behind his ears drops his head, underneath his throat lifts it, pressure on the left side brings it to me, and pressure on his right side pushes his head away. He is to receive this pressure and yield to it. This pressure should feel like you're leading a dance partner. To avoid a bloody or broken nose, we want to keep our head tilted away from the horse's head as it comes up. Horses can suddenly raise their head from environmental noises, and so we always want to be cautious and have extra space when we do this. At first, a horse will be reluctant to accept pressure from a new person, but Brent does an excellent job of recovery here while staying conscientious of that space we need to keep between our head and the horse's head. I love Gunner's expression here. He's getting less and less distractible, and Brent's becoming more important to him rather than all the distractions going on in the neighboring arena. Gunner's respect is greatly improved as he's allowed to come in after having moved his feet and been backed up and yielded. He gives Brent much more space, respect, and gentleness when he takes a treat from him. He asks politely and doesn't crowd him at all. Gunner's ears are both directly on Brent, as are both of his eyes. His body is in alignment with Brent, and that tells me that he's giving him his complete and total attention. This is respect.